broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello again, I tried. Hi again, Gallivant fans. We are here talking today about episode 5 and 6, Completely Mad Elena, and Dungeons and Dragon ladies. Joining me on the panel tonight, Jackie Borowski. Hey. Tiana Hubson. Hello. Yes. Blake McIver.
Jazz hands.
I'm your host, Megan Salinas, and we have not one, but 2 very special guests joining us tonight. Here in studio is Karen David, a.k.a. Princess Isabella something.
Maria Lucia Elisabetta of Valencia.
Impressive.
Also joining us, Luke Youngblood, who plays Sid. How are you guys doing tonight?
We're good. I think we're kind of pumped after seeing the show because it was a really good week. I mean, every week's a good week, but this week was, it was fantastic.
It's really overwhelming for us to watch the episodes because we're watching it for the first time like you guys are. Mm-hmm. So we can't really be passively watching it because we're like, oh my God, why did I do that? Oh, darn, why did I do it like that? And it's like, but after watching it like a few times, then you're like, okay, you can breathe.
I think I loved most that you guys were laughing just as hard as we were. It really was like you didn't know what was going to happen next. So
we have no idea. Like we don't know what parts they're going to keep and what they're going to get rid of in the show. And there's so many bits that we've shot and things that have happened kind of behind the scenes. That makes it even more funny. So I think it's a little bit unfair that we get to laugh just that little bit more than everyone else.
It's true. It's a completely different experience being in front of the camera than it is being behind the camera and actually getting to see the end result. But for all of our fans out there, we are also keeping an eye on Twitter. If you have any questions for our lovely fans, we can go ahead and throw our Twitter handles out right now, but we are also checking out the hashtag ABTVGallivant. So if you want to go ahead and tweet your questions for our lovely guests out there, maybe we'll get a chance to read them. So go ahead. What's your Twitter handle?
Oh, it's at 123 Jackie_B, and Jackie is spelled JACQUE because my mom is.
It's unique.
And I'm at the Tiana Hobson, like the princess, just with TIONA because I spell it right, unlike Princess Tiana.
And I am at Blake McIver, BLAKEMCIVER.
And you guys can tweet me at the Menguin. That's TheMenguin. Let's go ahead and get into it because there was so much going on this week. So many guest stars, so many awesome musical numbers, and we even end on kind of a hell of a cliffhanger there towards the end. So all in all, what's your guys' first reaction just coming out of the screening room? And what's your first reaction for this episode or these episodes?
Well, I said my first reaction to our guests before we went on air, so I feel like I should say it again for the benefit of the fans. I wish they were hour-long episodes, and I think I've probably said that before on air here. It's after watching this where you have a cliffhanger like that, you're like, okay, no. So maybe you guys can enlighten us as to why they are half-hour episodes.
Well, I know with the music, first and foremost, Alan Menken and Glenn Slater they wrote about 31 songs
there's like
for 8
31
episodes.
musical elements. It's insane.
Yeah, and it's really dependent on the storyline. Like, everything relies on something else. It's like a domino effect. So, this is something that's really new for TV. I mean, hats off to ABC for taking a big risk and a punt. And I think because they knew that too, they thought, well, let's try 8 and let's see what happens with this and see what the feedback is. But I think more for Alan and Glenn's sanity.
Yeah, definitely. But having like 2 half-hour episodes air back to back, so you do kind of get that full hour, and it just goes to show that we actually can take a full hour of this, a hardcore comedy that's in your face and just so action-packed. And I think an hour long would be, it'd be pretty good. But I don't know how Glenn and Alan.
Hint, nudge, wink, wink.
Season 2 hour-long episodes, please.
Yes.
That would be lovely. Oh, here's hoping. How about you guys?
I loved it. I mean, every week it just gets better and better. Like, you kind of think, where are they going to take the story and the songs next? Because it's like, how many musical numbers can they really fit in here? Because especially like the first episode was so like back-to-back songs. You're like, wow, is it going to be, is it going to get boring at some point? And it never does. I laughed my butt off, and I leave wanting to sing. Like, I want my life to be a musical. And I want a knight in shining armor to come in and be like, I'm here.
Maybe one day.
Maybe one day that'll happen. If life could just be a musical, my life would be happy.
Hire Alan Menken to come in.
Yeah,
Indeed. If Alan Menken could just compose all of our lives, it would be so much better.
So much better.
I loved these episodes tonight. Just my favorites so far, really. And it wasn't just because I popped 2 Xanax before.
Might be a coincidence there. Well, let's go ahead and talk. What's your guys' favorite episode from these 2? Because we had a couple really interesting ones, and we had 2 awesome guest stars. Weird Al, I think our jaws hit the floor when we saw Weird Al Yankovic come on
They
screen.
did. I was sat at the back, so I was able to hear it and then just hear the gung gung on the ground. And I was just imagining everyone else around America having the same reaction.
Yes.
And it felt pretty good. Because even though he looks completely different with the wig and that like bald cap and stuff, everybody knows that it's him. Like, he's so recognizable.
He's an icon.
Yeah, he is. And Karen's scene with him as well.
Can I just
Talk about that a little bit?
See, as you know, Lukey and I spent a lot of time together because we were spending so much time on our journey with Sid, Isabella, and Gallivant. This one was snickering behind the
I
scenes.
could not hold it together.
during the scenes with Al, I had some major tongue twister lines, and I just could not get them out. The 9 o'clock.
The 9 o'clock bit.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
And literally, my brain just froze, and I kept saying, like, stumbling about 6-7 times, and this one was cracking up.
I just couldn't. My back was going like this. And I was really trying to, be nice to my fellow actor. But there's just certain times when you just can't do it.
But Al was such a consummate pro.
Yeah.
It's as if he'd been doing it his whole life. He's just like, he'd just feed the line again, and then I'd muck up, and then he'd feed the line again. And it was like, a scratched record just on repeat. But he was such a pro, and he didn't even laugh or anything. He was so cool.
Yeah, he
Not
was
like
great.
you, Luke.
Sorry.
I know. It's all right. It's all right.
I was going to say, because the show, first of all, is a comedy, and because it looks like you guys have a lot of fun making the show, how hard is it to actually keep everything on schedule without busting up laughing every 5 seconds?
Basically, it doesn't stay on schedule because of that reason. I think we probably get about 5 minutes of usable TV every day, purely because we're laughing so much. And it's not even an understatement in terms of like how much we're just so, we're enjoying it, and you try to be in the moment, but then someone says something and, okay, it's written down and it's funny, but then when you see them perform it, it's even funnier. Yeah. And it's probably the hardest job that I've had because of that.
Yeah, just to see it's watching each other's reactions, and you know that everyone's trying to keep it together and hold it in, and so it's only until you see the director, Koch, or someone giving us dirty stink eye looks like, come on guys, reel it in, pull it, like, time is money. That's when we're like, okay, no more laughing. We have more gag reel, I think, than actual take.
Yeah.
Luke, you had this great anecdote, speaking of time, that Madalena had to learn that one song where there's a bunch of mirrors in like 20 minutes or something.
So it was one of those days where it's not getting done because, you know, people are laughing on set, and so they get to her scene, which is scheduled to be the last one of the day, and it's her big musical number. And we usually wrap at about 7 o'clock, and it's like 6:40 at this point. So it's like, right, we've got 20 minutes to shoot this scene, so you're going to learn the choreography in 5 minutes, and then we're going to shoot it. So she literally had to learn all of this, push-up bra, everything, within that 5-minute time period, and then shoot it and do all the mirrors. It was just...
And deliver a perfect lip sync to her pre-record, which was phenomenal.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's multitasking on a whole other level.
But I think you kind of get to a point where you're just in autopilot when the crunch comes, and you just got to do it.
Yeah.
So
You have
can
no
you
choice.
talk a little bit about the rehearsal schedule? Like, do you guys get to actually practice the choreography usually in advance, or is it all done on set?
You know, there's never a dull moment on set, and there's never a spare minute really, because if we're not filming, we're either in rehearsals with Ashley, our amazing choreographer, who would be so patient, because sometimes I know I can have 2 left feet, and especially when you're dancing with horses, which is a whole other story.
Completely different world.
But when you have that many people, like on your episode, Sydney Land, in that Oi What a Night, I mean, there's so much
Like
going on.
50 dancers and trying to coordinate everybody, and like you said, he's so patient, and then he's got his assistants who are working with us, and then the directors and execs have to come in and make sure that they like how it looks and things, and there's just a lot of people that have to sign off on it, and we're just so happy that it is that way, because the results come out in what you see on screen, and it's a movie. It's not TV. It's a film.
And we're just in shock, as much in shock like as everyone else when we're like, wow, we did that. Because I know for musical numbers, they usually give us a day to a day and a half to film the whole sequence. But sometimes, you know, like Mallory's sequence, you don't have that luxury. So when we're not doing choreography, we're either horseback riding
or in the studio,
learning
like
the songs,
laying down the
recording.
songs and stuff.
Yeah.
So
it's busy.
It's kind of like juggling, and you just like, okay, fine, I'm gonna I'm there, okay, and then you just do it.
It's like, just tell us where to go.
What's been your guys' favorite episode so far? Because obviously we've got 2 more left this season, but so far,
Not
episodes
that
1 through 6.
Biased or anything like that.
Right.
I mean, the first one that comes to my mind is, you know, 2 Balls, when we get to see Sid's hometown with his parents and things that aired last week, and it was just so much fun to shoot, especially that scene when we were all at the table. And again, I was cracking up.
With
together.
Faith Prince was...
But she just
So
even
laughing.
thinking about it. And her line wasn't particularly funny, but it was just how she delivered it that just, I couldn't hold it together. And there's one shot where the camera goes back round and you see me like this. I could, and I don't know how the editors managed to cut out me just bursting into fits of laughter.
See, for me, it's really hard to choose because it's more of moments. There's like different moments in each episode that happen that are just so funny. I know when I did my scene with John Stamos in the tent, that was so difficult for me to keep a straight face, especially saying the "your mama" jokes all the time. And John is so charming and so lovely and such a pro, and all I kept thinking was, oh my gosh, this is Uncle Jesse. I'm flirting with Uncle Jesse. This is so right yet so wrong at the same time. But it was that was so funny because he was just improvising and doing all these funny things, like coming right at me and me putting my hand on his face to push him away. And it was just, I mean, it's moments like that you just think this is so magical. And then in tonight's episode with Love is Strange, that has to be one of my favorite moments. As a kid, we all want to be a Disney princess, you know, as a little girl, and you dream about singing a song like that, especially by Alan Menken, and you think, oh my gosh, this can't be happening, and then you have this wonderful Disney ballad. Except that I never thought in a million years that I'd be singing an Alan Menken sort of Disney ballad, but with lyrics such as, you know, dirty underwear and all that. I'm thinking, hang on a second.
It's true. And for Karen and Josh that day, I mean, it was a full day of them doing this song because it was like really hard to get the shots through the bars. So like it looks effortless on screen, but it'd be like, okay, cut, we need to go again because our face is like in the middle of the bars and all of that.
Those bloody bars.
But that was the hardest day for me on set because I had to sit in the dungeon on that ground for like 14 hours while they're singing. And by the end of it, I'm like, love is strange. Please go
Were you biting your toenails?
I was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the toenails.
Biting your toenails?
Sid.
Yeah,
Oh,
everyone
yeah.
had like funny things to do. So I was just like,
If anything, I was impressed that you
that.
get your foot that high.
Well, kind of going off of that, what do you guys think is the most difficult part about filming a show like this? Because there is such a quick turnaround time between rehearsal and actually having to film it and everything like that. And we know you guys have wonderful musical backgrounds. How is it different going from a theatrical background to something that is so fast-paced and completely different because it's pre-recorded?
I know that when I was in the original cast of Mamma Mia, and that was my first time like doing a musical, and thank God that I went through that process because it made me really appreciate how much work it takes and how much stamina you have to have for doing 8 shows a week. And you have the luxury of time during that rehearsal period to really get to know your voice and feeling comfortable with singing the songs and throwing yourself in that moment. You have that nice rehearsal period. But with this, it was so quick, as you said, and you don't really have that luxury of time of really bonding with the music. I mean, we're singing it day and night, and eating, breathing, and sleeping it, and hoping that magic will just happen in that moment. Especially because we record the songs before we film, but then we also have earpieces and we're singing live. So you never know. They'll be like, "Oh, hang on a second, they sang it really well in the live take. So we'll just take a bit of that, and then a bit of this, and sometimes the whole live track, and then you hear birds chirping in the background and all that." But it's just, I think it's more a question of time that that we don't maybe perhaps get as you would when you're rehearsing for a show.
it's like you don't know what you're going to get also because when we're given the music, it's Alan's demo track, which sounds completely different to the orchestrated version. And like when I was in The Lion King when it first opened in London, it's you get the luxury of having the full orchestra there, when you get to a certain point in the rehearsal period, and you get used to hearing it that way. But then we've got to wait all this time until it's on TV, and then we finally get to know what it really sounds like. So you're kind of just going off of what our fantastic musical director, Koz, he's just a genius and he has everything in his head already. So you just listen to him and then he'll tell you to perform it one way or kind of pull back in this part and maybe give more there. And you trust him and know that it's going to sound amazing, and it just does.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of, you just have to be very trusting in that sense with everyone that you work with. But, I mean, if you're not, then why are you doing this job? Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
We're so lucky to have such a great team around us. I mean, you have Alan and Glenn and Michael Kassar, and I mean, this is the dream team, and we're so lucky and humbled by the whole experience to be working with such legends, and no pressure at all when we go in the studio.
None whatsoever.
No.
Well, and that's got to be difficult too, having to wait for feedback, because theater, you get immediate feedback on your performance, whereas a television show, you have to wait until you're sitting and watching it. So that's got to be a little hard too.
It is. I think you kind of let it go at that point, and I know all of you are singing that song in your head.
You looked right at me and I was seriously singing it.
I can see it in your eyes.
You looked into my soul just now.
But those 3 words will never be the same for anyone ever again. But I've even lost my train of thought. But yeah, you have to just, it is what it is. Whatever they've edited together there's nothing you can do about it now, so you better be all right with it.
Yep. So let's get back to this episode, because there is so much to talk about with this episode, and brought it up and then we kind of got sidetracked. Favorite episode? on the table, not favorite episode, but I want to know favorite song from these ones, because I really loved this opening number, just with all the mirrors. I know you said it took like 5 minutes for her to learn all the choreography and about 20 minutes to shoot, but I was just really impressed, especially when her reflection for the very first time pokes its head up, and it's like, oh, it's going to be that kind of song.
Favorite song?
Yeah, I mean, it's a toss-up tonight between the No One But You and Love Is Strange. Like, they were both so great and so different. No One But You, just for the music nerds out there, it feels very A Guy Like You from Hunchback, also Alan Menken.
Oh.
And I feel like Love Is Strange kind of gave me a little bit of like At Last I've Seen the Light from Tangled.
A little bit.
Yeah.
It's a little melodic tie in there.
How about you, Jackie?
I'm a huge Weird Al fan, so I love the super funny numbers.
Yeah.
So I love that number, and I love what I like to do is when I watch those numbers is see the main actor start horsing around in the background, because they're given you guys are given little bits to do, and it's so funny because like you're watching people's faces and they're really engaging, even though you're not technically supposed to be viewing that. But I like to see that because I'm like, I know they made a choice.
We did that. Like, I was like really getting into it.
I could tell.
We hadn't seen any of their choreography or anything, so it was literally when we were shooting that scene, that was like natural reaction.
Yeah.
And
we were just in awe. We were like, oh my gosh, how did he learn all this in such a short space of time?
super complex.
Yeah.
But
we were so impressed.
They just nailed it. Nailed it.
Nailed
What
it.
you, Tiana, favorite song?
Okay, I can't remember which song this was, but whichever one had the lyrics Petrificus Totalis, like the Harry Potter. Huge Harry Potter nerd over here. Yes. Like we've gotten a lot of Game of Thrones references throughout the episodes, but to throw in the Harry Potter one, I was like,
Yeah, when I heard that, I was like,
yeah, I was
And it wasn't quite as blatant as Expelliarmus would have been.
Yeah.
So, not to them on that one. That was pretty good.
I do like to. You have these guest stars who don't. Some of them sing like the No, I can't. I can only think Uncle Jesse, but I know he sang with
Sean Ham.
he sang with the Beach Boys, and then Weird Al obviously that's his career, but hearing Ricky Gervais sing was just so funny to me. It added a level of like funny because you just don't picture him singing. Yeah.
Well, when in some of his episodes on The Office, he like brought out his guitar and he was like just strumming a tune, and I'm sure that he was improvising then as well.
Yeah.
But he's actually got a pretty good singing voice, and seeing like the kinds of characters that he plays, singing voice and those just don't go together. It just it's just not something that you picture. But he's pretty.
He was so good. He was in good form,
Definitely.
And he was doing take after take, and he was you could tell he was just having so much fun with it.
Yeah.
Because he'd hold that end note, and it would go to places that I never thought it would go. It was really funny.
That was another moment for me. I mean, both with the Weird Al moment and that moment when they have the guest star come in, you're like, no, oh snap.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like I said, our jaws just hit the ground. It was.
And they had even the girl who plays Daisy on Downton Abbey.
Yeah,
I didn't know she could sing either, and she did a lovely job.
Yeah, she's and in that particular episode, I think that she was singing as the character, but if she sings as herself, her voice is just so
beautiful.
It's just so lovely, and like you could just sit there and just listen.
And I thought that was cute too, the two of them together.
Yeah.
I thought that was a cute pairing.
I was really hoping we would get a chance to talk about that with the chef's love song, because this is a character that has been kicked to the curb so many times. It was just really nice to see him have just one small duet moment where he could sing with somebody else and maybe have a shot of something like happiness that maybe as close to happiness as surfs can get. It's just adorable. Because as as great as it is to have Weird Al, this one, it's kind of hard to follow up a Weird Al number with a number like that, but it was really sweet and really adorable.
And they make it good because the lyrics are hilarious.
Yeah, they are. Those like babies, you know,
and
there's like one left. But it's kind of true. That's what makes it funny, because like in, you know, the medieval period, that's exactly what would have happened.
Oddly morbid, but still kind of uplifting.
Twisted.
But there's a lot going on in these episodes, too, with your guys' characters. For one, Sid just has a one-liner every 2 minutes, and it's great.
Best one-liner.
That's my favorite thing about him, I have to say. Like, I lucked out with the one-liners, and I would just like be reading through the script, waiting for them, and it's like, yeah.
And I'd be so jealous. I'm like, okay, and I get all it's babble lines. And he's like just the one gold, you know, solid gold line, and I'm like, okay, fine.
Well, and it's hard too because Isabella is going through a lot, because not only does she have all of the guilt, but she also tries to make it right, and this is where the whole thing comes undone. And the whole plot is revealed, and Gallivant sees the scheme for what it was truly like. I know that the tone of the show, for one, is comedic, and that obviously you guys are having a lot of fun, but when it gets to be moments like that, do you guys is it hard to emotionally connect because the show is so fun?
You know, Luke, I can safely say for Luke and I, we're like the biggest sops. It doesn't take much for us to tear up. I mean, especially, I'm jumping slightly forward to next weekend.
No, don't tell them, Karen.
But no, it was on the last day, because we knew it was our last day of filming, and we were just like, like we were all teary and everything.
So sad. It was so sad.
Yeah, and I think, you know, with going back to this weekend's episodes, it's such a fine line, because you do have those moments where it's a bit of drama, and it's such a fine line with not being too overly dramatic, because it is a comedy, but at the same time you have to feel those moments and give recognition to those moments too. So I know we were talking a lot to the directors to kind of guide us, because you don't want to fall too much over this way or too much the other way.
And that's the beauty of Dan's writing. He's a genius. He's just so able to kind of marry both the comedic side and the dramatic side, and all of his stories, they're real genuine love stories, you know, at their core, and I think that's what just makes it so great and just amazing and just enjoyable to perform, because you kind of get to do everything in one project. So we're super lucky.
One of my favorite things that going along with this now my mind is blinking, but I know what I'm trying to say. The Love is Strange song, where it's kind of playing on the idea that this isn't a perfect love song, and Disney has started to slowly introduce this into their films, slowly introduce this into their TV shows, where it's like you can have this really beautiful love and it doesn't have to be perfect and picture book, and that's what I like as the message of this show. He's falling in love with the girl who snores, or
it's a mouth breather.
That was Karen's real snore, by the way, just so you know.
Do you have a deviated septum?
I don't. I have friends who do, so I know their trials and tribulations. But it was funny because everyone asks me now. They tweet. They're like, "Do you really snore?" I'm like, "Oh no!" And I'm like, "Well." And I just for the FYI, I don't snore in real life. I just take inspiration from my husband, who's going to kill me right now. Because he has the best snore. It's like a rattlesnake. It's like, really, a honking spaceship kind of thing. So I took inspiration from there. And then when doing the scenes, and again, it was really hard because you and Josh were laughing hysterically. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this?
But going back to what you were saying, Jackie, it's so I feel like it's a reflection of what today's world is.
Yeah.
Nothing is perfect anymore, and we're okay with showing our flaws, and I think that's just what people just connect with, really, and down to little kids and adults. We've been through it all and seen everything, and just make it be real.
And thank goodness. I mean, did we ever think that you were going to play a squire and I was going to play a medieval princess?
We have to tell you about the audition process. For both of us, it was kind of similar. when I got the script, I was like, yes, this is Dan Fogelman, Alan Menken's doing the music, this is going to be amazing. So I'm reading through, I'm loving it. It's a page turner. Sid's getting introduced, and I read the character description, and Sid, a scrawny Jewish guy, the kind of Jew that non-Jews find funny. And I was like, oh. Last time I checked, I didn't really have that look. Like, I'm short but I'm black. So I call up my manager and I'm like, you sure I'm going to be seen for this? And he's like, no, Susan Vash, who was our casting director, look, she wants to bring you in, she wants to see you. And I thought, you know what? It just completely took the pressure off. Probably not going to get it. Yeah. Let me just go in and have fun. End up booking the role.
Well, it's exactly the same story. I'm so excited, like a little girl. My eyes are getting wider and wider as I'm reading the pilot. And then it comes to Isabella, and it says, yeah, well, we want Jennifer Lawrence. Yeah, we can get her. And I was like, what?
It was Pink Jennifer Lawrence. That's exactly what it is.
And I called my agent and I said, are you kidding? It's Jennifer Lawrence. It's someone that looks a lot like her. And I said, the last time I checked in the mirror, I definitely did. And they said again, Susan and Melissa, they want you to come in and see for it. And I just never would have thought. I mean, after Dan met me, I had no idea, but he said, yeah, that's my brown Jennifer Lawrence. Mm-hmm. So.
And it's hats off to him and to ABC, and just colorblind casting is just so refreshing, and especially for us, and getting to have this opportunity. And I just feel like it's a reflection of what's out there today, and our show is not taking itself seriously in the slightest, and you can just sit back and enjoy it without thinking, well, maybe the characters should look like. Enjoy the show.
Well, and
they wrote it. Oh, I'm sorry. Because they wrote it into the script.
Yeah.
They wrote that into the script. Your
Definitely.
characters were...
how we're super diverse.
You're ethnically hard to pick down.
I think I got the biggest laugh of the night.
That is for me, that was the line of the night. It's so funny because Twitter is already going crazy, tweeting that. Everyone's claiming that as their own. But you got to say that, which was so fun.
Growing up as a kid, because I have a bit of a tossed salad of a background, and I remember Dan asking me this at the casting. He was like, "Where are you from, Karen?" And I'm like, "Well, how long have you got?" It's a bit of Chinese and Indian. He goes, "But your last name's Jewish." I was like, "Yeah, I got that too." And he's like, "Okay, you know what?" So it was just when you get a gift of a line like that, it's not. When do we get to say things like that? Mm-hmm. Super diverse, ethnically hard to pin down in a medieval period piece. I mean, it just doesn't happen. So we know we're really lucky.
It's a nice, refreshing change of pace. And speaking of Twitter, we do have some questions from Twitter, and I'd love to get to those. But first, I want to talk to our listeners really quickly about iTunes. Folks, thank you so much for the people who've gone to iTunes to rate and leave a comment. It means the world to us, and we love hearing your guys' feedback, not only on there, but on YouTube. It makes our day when we see those comments come up, and it makes us more searchable. And the guys behind the scenes at AfterBuzz are putting on 99 shows a week, which means that they are working over 100 hours a week, probably closer to 110, to get all of that content to you for free. So it really means the world if you go to iTunes and you let us know what you think. So thank you guys. Whoop, I'm going to do that without breaking my mic.
You're giving them more work to do if you break the mic.
That is why we don't mic drop here at AfterBuzz. We do not do that. So we've got a couple questions. One from Quina Gonzalez, and I apologize if I am mispronouncing those names. One question: how fun is it to live tweet on Sunday nights?
Do you want to answer that, Karen? Karen is the queen of Twitter, I have to say, especially when it comes to the show. She's like, I feel like she's superhuman or something. She's just going for it. And it's you blow me away every Sunday. And blow me out of the water as well, because I'm just trying to keep up.
There's so much love that comes for the show. And you just want to give everyone a big hug because really it just means the world to all of us that people are embracing the show, that they're laughing, they're having such a wonderful time and kind of like forgetting about the realities of life or whatever every Sunday night. So it's pandemonium for all of us because we're tweeting all together. And it's so funny because you'll have Dan Fogelman or Chris Koch in the background telling us, you know, there was one tweet I got saying, is it just me or is everyone in the show really good looking? And I said, I don't know how to answer that. And Dan said, just write this. I said, oh, okay. And he said, 3 of us, yes. 2 of us had plastic surgery. And it's like, but I mean, we're having all this silly fun in the background, and it's just banter between all of us back and forth. So it's like little kids in a room with like this gadget, and we're just having too much fun.
So do you guys usually all get together to live tweet for the episodes? So you watch them together?
Yeah.
Aww. How cute.
So this Sunday is at Vinny's house, and last week was at Tim's. Yeah. So, just kind of making the rounds.
Well, speaking of behind the scenes, we have a question from CJ Williams on Twitter. What's it like working with Timothy Amundsen?
Okay, well, we actually haven't had that many scenes with Tim, but the one which we had, which, you know, was on tonight's show. Well.
Oh, my God.
Genius. He again, like these, I feel like I'm just working with alien people here because the stuff that they do and that they bring to set is just so far beyond anything that you had in mind, like when we were doing the read-throughs and when you're reading over it again yourself. But Tim, he just the way that he works and he like just really squeezes the funny out of every single line, and he's just enjoying himself and the character so much, and it's just so infectious.
He's such a natural too. I mean, he's Tim Amundsen, and I mean, for me, it was that scene that was so funny, and also when in tonight's episode when he reveals my parents, and we were laughing because I just felt like it was like The Price is Right, and he was like, and here's door number 1 and door number 2, and he was. I remember when we were filming that, he was just so funny because when he was laughing at me, he goes, "Oh, your face," like all those. I said, how am I going to keep a straight face throughout this whole thing? Because they're like, Karen's a close-up on you, meaning don't laugh. And I'm like, oh, this is so hard. But we've had so much fun with him, and we're hoping for a season 2, and we're certainly hoping for more encounters with him.
Yeah, because things in season 2 will be very different. Yeah. Let's just put it that way.
I think you know something.
What does that mean?
Honestly, I could see it being very different just with the way this episode ends. It's kind of left on a note that's kind of a game changer.
Yeah.
So.
Well, this is like the taster of the game changer.
Hey. You're such a tease.
Someone's gone through PR training, right?
That episode where he reveals your parents, he had, I think it was the last episode where he talks about how he doesn't know comedy, and I was thinking as it happened, oh, he learned
comedy. they've been put away for a long time. Funny, they lost perspective. One more question from Twitter for right now, also from Miss Gonzalez. Just because we were talking about Disney earlier, who was your guys' favorite Disney princess growing up?
Okay, so mine, I had...
Or character.
Yeah. Limited to princesses.
Disney princess.
You could be...
I'm going to ask
Mulan's
both.
Technically not a Disney princess.
This is true.
Yeah.
So Disney princess, considering that was asked first. I don't know, maybe Jasmine, because I really enjoyed watching Aladdin, and they got to go on that magic carpet, and it's like, wait, you can travel the entire world in one night. I want to do that. But yeah, I think Princess Jasmine, but Disney character, not that I'm biased, but young Simba in The Lion King.
No bias there.
Mine's kind of a toss-up because... I mean, I grew up on like high doses of Jane Austen and the Bronte sisters. So really, in my dreamland, I'd love to be Elizabeth Bennet, which, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
But, so my mom then, to make me feel better, showed me Pocahontas. She showed me Esmeralda and Hunchback of Notre Dame and Jasmine in Aladdin, and I thought, yay, maybe in my dreams. And I just love the three of them so much. But secretly I did want to be a redhead like Ariel or Belle in Beauty and the Beast.
I just always wanted to be on that rock like Ariel and flip my hair. Like that hair flip is everything.
You can still do this though. Just go down to Malibu.
I was just about to say, you've never done that. I have.
No, I'll have to go maybe tomorrow.
Point Doom, there's a great rock.
Well, actually, I've got something that you can flip your hair on. This rock.
Oh my goodness.
I think you guys should have. It's a surprise.
Oh my gosh!
Oh my goodness, you guys.
For those of you listening to the podcast, Princess Isabella just gave Valencia. Tiana just tried to
He's gonna just make some money real quick.
This is so cool.
Yay.
They let you keep this?
So they made like a few copies.
That's so cool.
Karen stole it.
Yeah, I was like, do they know you have it?
I wish I could move it over to the center of the table.
I got you.
There we go. There we go.
Bam.
Now the crown jewel at AfterBuzz. That is the coolest thing.
Awesome, thank you.
Do you get to keep that?
So we asked after we filmed the first season, we were like, okay, there's got to be a memento for each of our characters that we have to keep. So I asked for the Jewel of Valencia because that darn thing has caused me so much havoc. I just thought we've got to be reunited. So and then you.
And I got something which I don't even know if I'm allowed to say what I got.
I'm not allowed to say, but it's out there.
Well, the Sydneyland episode again, going back to that, there was the tapestry on the wall in the knight's outfit, which when I saw it, because Dan actually emailed me a picture of it before we went on set, and I could not believe that I had a tapestry made of myself as a knight. It was hanging on the wall in my house. And so yeah, that is going to go up on the wall in my house.
What room does that go in? Do you hang that in like the bath? Like you don't want it to be too showboaty, so do you put it in the bathroom so people can like secretly admire it, or do you?
No, I think I'm going to go for that actually. At least for the first year or two.
Yeah.
Like entry hall.
Yeah,
Entry hall,
definitely.
Like, when you walk in, like you open the door and it's like, hello, it's me. Hello, it's me.
Yeah. When I saw it on the email, I was like, oh, okay, cool, like amazing. But then when I saw it in real life, I was like, oh, it's life size? Huge. The frame for that, I don't even know how much that's going to cost.
And it'll be worth it.
Yeah, well.
It will be.
My suggestion, when you get like a mansion, put it in the study. And one of those portraits that you put over a fireplace.
Yeah, that would be nice. Those creepy whodunit kind of
Yeah, it's like you.
An Agatha Christie novel.
It's like you go stand on the mantle, put your arm up, smoke a pipe, tapestry of you above you.
Yes.
It's like,
I could so see Sid doing that. That's a very Sid thing.
Well, and speaking of you guys just cracking up, we've gotten one more question from Twitter. Awkward Meow on Twitter wants to know if you guys, both Karen and Luke, think that you could start a comedy band while the show is on hiatus, maybe with Weird Al?
A comedy, that would be fun.
That would actually be pretty cool. I don't know if we'd be able to write lyrics as well as Glenn Slater does. We might just have to rope him into it as well. But yeah, it'd be really funny actually.
Can you imagine if we had like a pop band?
Yeah.
With Gallivant.
What would we call it?
Oh, I don't
Because
know.
we tried to do like a hybrid name of Sid and Isabella, which was Sidabella. But then Dan Fogelman said that sounded like an STD.
Or a ship name. That sounds a little bit like a ship name.
Yeah. We'll go with that.
Yeah. We got Gallabella right now. Everyone's shipping. They're saying, yeah, I ship Gallabella.
You guys could be the Gala Band.
Gallabella.
Yes.
cute.
Yes.
There it is.
Do you want to
I
be a
like
writer on our show next season?
I'd
I feel
love
like
to.
I
Just
think you
call me up. I'm free. I have everything.
She's really good at wordplay.
Guys, I've never been that quick for anything. It took me until we were about to start the show tonight to get episode 5's name completely. Elena, I did not put that together. Luke and I were walking in, and I was like, oh, I get it now.
And I was just like,
Yeah, way to catch up to everyone else.
You done good. You done good.
Trust me, you did well. I mean, if you had to say that line, that nocturnal dance with the whatever, the howling of the water. Oh,
Indeed.
it haunts me
I
still.
wouldn't have been able to do it.
Well, to get back to this episode a little bit, I'm having fun.
yeah, sorry guys, sorry.
I know.
To get back to this episode a little bit, we were talking a little bit about what it's like working with Timothy. I want to talk a little bit about his character, because we get some character backstory this time around in Dungeons and Dragon Ladies. During the song Hocus Pocus, we get a peek into his past, and we see why he is the way he is, which was his whole spirit quest.
Thanks to Xanax.
Everything.
And we find out that he actually has a brother. He wasn't first in line for the throne. He has a brother named Kingsley. They literally named him Kingsley.
I liked that song too. The song where they're telling him, "You have to take the sword."
It's like, I don't want to. But that one, I think that explains, again, I don't want to make excuses for this guy because he accidentally hangs people without consequence.
That was so funny, by the way.
And he's just banging his head and people are dropping behind him. It's terrible.
You see the chef's face going, oh no. Where's this leading to?
Wait, you don't have to kill me. We can take Xanax. It'll be fine. But we find out that the reason he is the way he is because he was always second fiddle. Mm-hmm. He was always everyone's second choice for everything, including being king. Mm-hmm. And even though it wasn't really too hard to predict that Kingsley was going to come back after that introduction, it says a lot about, again, why Richard is the way he is. What did you guys think? Did you guys feel sorry for him at that point? Or were you like, I don't care, this doesn't excuse anything you've done?
Well, here's one of the things that I love about the show is that we get like a lovely little moral nugget of truth in the middle of this. Like, you know, how we've all felt that. We've all felt that less than kind of second fiddle to someone else, the better person. And here we get like, oh, well, this is what happens if it takes a left turn, it becomes evil. Like, I think on some level we all can relate to that. You know, we can see ourselves in pieces of that story.
Yeah, and for me, I think it brought up another question of where did Kingsley go? Because he eventually does take the sword, so did that officially make him the king over King Richard to begin with?
I think it was more just like, I don't want to be king, but I want that sword.
Yeah, like I want the sword.
It was an accessory.
It was okay with that. But I mean, I don't think I feel bad for Richard, but I understand him more, and I appreciate that. But I just love his character. Even though he is, you know, the bad guy, I still love his character because it's so funny and he's so aloof to a lot of things that are going on around him, you know, with the whole Madalena and, you know, the Juster affair going on and stuff. So I like that we got more insight to him, but it doesn't really change my whatever I'm trying to say.
Well, it's also this negative body image that it kind of explains why he might have killed the chef's father and the chef's grandfather.
Good point.
Like, oh, I was thinking about that. I was like, oh, that's probably why he wasn't too happy with the chefs. What about you, Jackie? Are you still all right with the king, or are you like, it doesn't matter? It doesn't have an excuse.
I mean, I love villains, so I've always been all right with the king. I mean, he's kind of like Scar, where it's like he feels like he was the slighted one, and he shouldn't have to be. But I forget who the guy who's his
Gareth.
Yes.
Seeing little Gareth.
Gareth is the best.
What good casting.
It was the best casting that I think I may have ever seen for someone who looks exactly like they would have looked.
Mini-me, wasn't it? Mini-me
I'm only 10, but...
Yeah, that was my favorite line. I'm only 10, but okay, I'll do this.
And Tim said he actually looked a lot like the younger version of him as well.
Oh, Tim's
and
version,
yeah, because Tim was like, when I was a kid, I was, you know, kind of, a little bit.
Say it.
Pudgy.
Yes. Right?
Tiana said it. But yeah, he said he looked exactly like that. And so I think it just, really kind of just ties in with the character again. And that's the great thing about this show, is that you kind of get a little background on each of us. And I think it makes quite a lot of the characters relatable in that way.
And the two boys that played the younger version were so fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, and it was really nice to have them on the set too.
I hope we get more flashbacks because they were just adorable.
Yeah, they were so cute.
There's some, I think there were quite a few flashbacks that we had shot that didn't make it in just because of like the timing of the episodes and things like that. But hopefully there's some sort of gag reel where they
I think they're
group
gonna
them all together.
Yeah.
Because there's so much that you guys would just love seeing and just be rolling on the floor laughing at.
Yeah, there were other like extra verses in some of our songs that had to be cut. Or Vinny had a great song too, Maniology. To show King Richard had to man up a bit, and we were like, but because we're so constrained for time, it's 22 minutes essentially, right?
Yeah.
You've got to pack everything in. It was tough. I'd hate to be in their position trying to slice things down, and because really we shot more than what we needed. So I think there's got to be extra bonuses or something.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And this week, like you guys were saying, it was such a cliffhanger. I'm interested to know what you think's going to happen next week.
Oh yeah.
Well, that sounds like a perfect segue. Prediction.
He's done this before.
Now, your AfterBuzz TV prediction.
I love that the floor.
Yeah.
It's so great. It makes me so happy.
It's like being in a disco ball.
We need a warning though, like strobe lights.
Yeah, I feel like I'm just going to start.
Do that again.
Viewers who have issues. We might have to start putting up a seizure warning at the beginning of the episode. So we're left off with Kingsley coming back. Madalena sent him a letter to try to presumably take back the kingdom. Played by Rutger Hauer, I believe is how you say the name. People may recognize him from Batman Begins. He was one of the board of directors for Wayne Enterprises. He's just one of those guys when he comes on screen, just a lot of gravitas there. Yeah. There's like, you don't want to mess with that guy.
He's like scary in real life. I remember walking into the makeup trailer and I was just like, oh nice to meet you, sir. And then he was like, yes, nice to meet you too.
He's very regal.
I'm just going to get my makeup done now.
Go away.
But he just embodied the character. He just destroyed it. He was just so good.
Yeah.
So good.
It was a bit surreal because, for anyone who's watched Blade Runner, you're like, oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. That's all I said. Oh my gosh.
And it is kind of shocking when he comes in, not only because of who's playing him, but the fact that he's this guy who has probably more right to be king than King Richard does. So, and you guys mentioned that next week is a little bit more of a game changer than this week was. So, all in all, what do you guys think is the direction for the last 2 episodes of the show?
If you're saying that this is the real game changer, this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, so Kingsley takes over the kingdom, rightfully, and then King Richard ends up teaming up with Gallivant, and the new bad guy is Kingsley.
We're keeping a poker face, just smiling at everyone through, This is all good.
Not gonna get anything. These two are hard to break. I see it's already formed kind of with the Madalena and Kingsley alliance, but I see her as an opportunist. So
really?
We all yes. Super intellectual thoughts of the day.
I don't know how you picked up on that.
Just subtle hints. Nothing major.
Elena, I get it.
Yes. So I could see, since King Richard has said, I'm basically through with you, her now trying to get into Kingsley's pants to team up there, and I do kind of see King Richard Gallivant thing coming together, and I actually just want to finally see the whole Gallabella thing take off and run with that whole thing more.
Hashtag ship.
Yes. Let's just see that kiss already. Let's go for it.
I just want a big production number finale with perhaps a mega mix a la Joseph. Yes! All of the songs with new lyrics.
I would like a one day more of the Gallivant.
Okay, that too. That works.
That would be fantastic. We haven't seen a dragon yet. I know I was really holding out for it the first 2 episodes. I would like Kingsley to bring in a dragon. That's just me. I don't think that's actually going to happen. That seems a little far-fetched, but we can dream, right? Yeah.
Season 2. Season 2.
Season 2.
We're putting this out. What do we say on set all the time?
8 seasons, 2 movies, Broadway production.
Dolls.
Nice.
Yes.
Action figures.
Action figures.
Detailed figurines.
Obviously, we don't want you guys to give away anything from next week, but what would you guys like to see from your characters in season 2? Assuming everyone's alive. We're not. Oh, jeez.
No,
Wow, it just got dark.
Yeah.
They were making lots of Game of Thrones references.
Yeah, that's true. Very true.
A singing red wedding?
That would be quite epic.
Talk about Les Mis.
We have to tiptoe around this one.
I would like to see just some. I don't even want to answer this question. No, I think I would just like to see like a different kind of characters put in very different situations from what they're used to or what we've seen them in so far. So kind of just test each and every one of them to their limits and kind of really get to see what they do in that situation.
You are so good. Just tiptoeing around.
It's the PR training.
Right?
He's very good at it.
Very good.
How about character interactions that you guys didn't get a whole lot of for season 1 that you'd maybe like to see for season 2?
I know. I'd love us to have more time with Tim and
Yeah,
Vinny.
agreed.
That'd be great. And Madalena, I'd love to see a cat fight.
Oh, yes.
You know, I mean, Mallory and I were
I'd like to
talking
see
about
that
this.
too. I'd just be like, get me that popcorn.
Mallory and I were saying it'd be really fun if we could have like the epic female cat fight, and in between takes we'd be hugging each other saying, "You okay? Okay, ready, you go, okay, go." But something like that, and I personally would love to see Valencia restored back to where it was before.
With its population of 87 people.
Yes.
No more Valencia.
I want some more swashbuckling and sword fighting and things like that. That's what I'd like to see for Sid, because I feel like he's harboring these skills that haven't really been on display yet. So, I mean, we took on the entire pirate crew.
Yeah, we did.
With practically our bare hands. So
Yeah, better than Castle Black.
yeah, we got the skills.
As you said, so, right? So all that sword fighting and more pirates,
Yeah.
But with Dan's imagination,
You
just
gotta
watch
be
out.
ready for anything.
It's the
Anything.
unexpected.
Because we didn't even know we're shooting the entire series and we got to episode 5 and 6 and we had no idea what 7 and 8 was going to be, and it was literally that week that we started shooting it that it was like, oh, now we know what the fate's going to be for all of these characters.
Yeah.
Because they just change like that and then they'll get this brand new idea and
I know what you're talking about.
it's
I'm just telling you, just expect the unexpected next
Yes.
weekend.
Okay, unfortunately, we're running short on time, and it breaks my heart to say it, so we really should wrap up. But before we do you guys have any more questions?
Okay, I'm going to kill myself if I don't ask Luke to do a pop-pop for me.
shoulder action.
Shoulder action going? Yeah.
I'll do a little one. That was just for you, Tiana. Just for you.
Thank you so much. I needed that
That's amazing.
I don't think we can top that.
Where do we go from there?
I think that's the perfect note to end on. Where can fans go if they want to keep up with what you guys are doing, and what about your upcoming projects?
So they can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Luke_Youngblood.
and I'm at Karen David. But on Instagram, because there's another Karen David, I'm Isababbling now. It's at Karen David Official on Instagram, and Danny Pudi, who I just finished doing an indie film with called The Tiger Hunter, he calls me Karen David Official all the time. And I'm like, Danny, please. He's like, Karen David Official. So I'm feeling official right now. So I'm like, okay.
Any upcoming projects you guys want to plug real quick?
We are just kind of really pushing for season 2. That's what we want to plug real quick. So you just need to get out there, keep watching the show, and just badger ABC.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
literally chain yourself to the gates of ABC for us to
I'm
come
gonna chain
back.
myself to a Mickey statue. Bring back Calvin.
Tweeting helps, anything
Yes.
on social media, because they always look at that, and that all kind of helps.
Yeah, we're just enjoying it so much, and just being on this ride with everyone else, getting to watch it every week is just such a treat. So yeah, thank you guys for having us, and thanks everyone for
I
watching as
know.
well. out
Thank
there.
you for joining us. It's been so much fun. You guys are fantastic.
Oh, this is so much fun. We just want to be with you guys all the time. Like,
You know where to find us. We're always
See, you
here.
shouldn't have told us that, because we'll just stalk you.
Yeah, we're always here, just watching TV all the time. So.
Pretty much. That's the story of our lives. Blake, where can people go if they want to keep up with you?
People can keep up with me on Twitter and Instagram at Blake McIver or BlakeMcIverOfficial.com. So we are experience that.
And I'm on Twitter and Instagram at the Tiana Hobson. There's no official after my name because I'm the only one.
I'm on Twitter at 123Jackie_B, but I couldn't get an underscore for Instagram. They don't let you do that. So
Bummer.
I'm at 123JackieB, all one word, on Instagram.
Nice. And you can follow me on Twitter at the Menguin. That's TheMenguin. There are lots of Megan Salinas, so stick with the Menguin. You might find some unpleasant things. Anyway, thank you again to our wonderful guests. Thank you,
guys so
everybody.
much.
It was
Thank
so
you.
much fun. Thank you guys. We will see you guys next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.